It's a beautiful Friday morning. Thank God today is Friday. Now, today it's March 20th, 2026. Our president visited UK on the 18th and 19th. I think he is expected to be back today because Bayo Ononoga told us that the president will come back to Nigeria after the visit. And we were wondering where else will he have gone to. Good morning and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning. I am Chukuma Okoro. In the next 2 hours, we are going to take you through very interesting stories. And we start from the UK, where Nigeria UK has sealed a £746 million deal to revamp Tin Can. We'll move away from that. Now, Nigeria leads countries with highest petrol price hike since start of the US-Iran conflict. And leaders react as Nigeria ranks fourth in the 2026 Global Terrorism Index. Now, these are the major topics of discussions. But before we get into all of that, we also have other interesting trending stories. And in case you didn't know, we are broadcasting live on Metro SLTV channel 264, on YouTube and other social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Come along with us as we take you through these interesting stories.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on this edition of VOP this morning. I'm Jane Ogoye, and I have Moses here. Good morning.
Oh,
Moses.
yes, of course. Moses is right here. So it's the complete team. Good morning. It's the official end of the Ramadan. So yes, it's the holidays continue. Happy Baraka de Salah, Eid al Fitri. Eid al Fitri, yes.
Yes.
So Eid al Fitri. And we'll continue the holidays. The interesting part is holidays like this, you want to move around Lagos, especially if you have fuel in your car. You don't have a problem because the roads are free. You can just drive and you can actually time yourself. You can say, okay, I'm stepping out of my house at this time and in 20 minutes, I'll be on the island. And you will be on the island in 20 minutes because the roads are free. But you can't try that on a regular day in Lagos. You need to factor in traffic time. Number of time you would spend in traffic.
Fuel in your tank.
Well, fueling your tank, that's just the standard. Oh well, welcome to VOP this morning.
The EFCC has handed over a whooping 3.996 billion naira in recovered loot to the Nigerian National Petroleum Limited, NNPCL Limited, during a high-profile ceremony at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja on Thursday. The funds clawed back from certain individuals within the NNPC through rigorous investigations that exposed fraudulent activities and shady dealings by some insiders in the national oil giant were presented by EFCC Secretary Mohammed Hamajoda on behalf of Chairman Ola Ulukayode, who stressed the agency's unwavering commitment to fighting economic crimes despite the personal risks involved. Hamajoda declared the EFCC would keep serving Nigerians over 220 million people with courage and integrity. Receiving the check, NNPC's Executive Vice President Downstream, Mumuni Dagazao, expressed pride in the collaboration, noting that the corporation has long battled internal challenges and corruption, and praised the EFCC's swift assistance in recovering the money, signaling renewed efforts to clean up the notoriously graft-ridden oil sector amid public demands for transparency and accountability in how national resources are managed. Well, this is a welcome development. And while we applaud it, we're also wondering, or rather praying and hoping that some of the loopholes that have enabled the siphoning of public funds and the income generated by the NNPCL would be tightened so that we don't, continue having all of this. The NNPC has for many decades, in fact, for as long as my adult life, been one of the conduit pipes, for corruption in the Nigeria economy. And in short, of all the parastatals, I think the oil sector, I dare say, maybe after the power sector, is one of the most corrupt. And so while we applaud this, can we also think about how all of this can be mitigated? And for the fact that the EFCC can actually recover such amounts of money, I'm also thinking that wherever this came from, there's still a lot of money that are accounted for. And we need to ensure that there's accountability and transparency in the oil sector. And it's so sad. There was something you said earlier, when you were going through our lineup for today, that the Iran-US war a lot of oil producing countries are smiling to the bank. But Nigeria is one of the worst hit. In short, he said it's the worst hit, not one of the worst hit. That shows you that there's so much corruption and that our petroleum sector does have the potential, the capacity to be a major, revenue earner for this country. I know for the longest time we've talked about deregulation, we've talked about diversifying income streams of the country, but it seems as though we still are over-reliant on petrol. We still are, and it's so sad that we have other mineral resources. We also have agriculture that can actually be one of our mainstays. It's really sad, really.
All right, we'll take a break now. Let's take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with this story because Jane says it's a laudable venture. I don't think it is. It looks laudable, sounds laudable, but there are questions to be asked, and we'll dive into all of that when we come back from this break.
Welcome to Golden Tulip, where every stay is a celebration of comfort and style. Discover beautifully designed rooms crafted for your relaxation and peace of mind. Savor delicious, expertly prepared meals at our exceptional restaurants. Relax and socialize at our elegant lounge bar. Refresh yourself at the vibrant pool bar and enjoy a soothing swim in our sparkling pool. Planning something special? Our spacious and sophisticated hall provides the perfect setting for weddings, conferences, and memorable events. Whether for business or leisure, we deliver excellence with unmatched hospitality. Comfort, class, premium experience. Book today and elevate your hospitality experience. Airport Golden Tulip. Stay golden. Live golden.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bamakore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from the Real Housewives of Lagos and the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. Shout out to VOP, the voice of the people. You already know. Stay tuned, keep watching. And don't forget, VOP is the best.
All right, hello, it's about that shagging the man fine back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know why you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers wherever live. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Jenny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not a spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People television.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news, we analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
When I first heard VOP, I thought they were talking about me because I'm a voice-over personality, but no, this is Voice of the People TV, and you are riveted forever because this is the place to be.
Yo guys, your boy Chela, shout out to VOP TV. I love you guys.
Salut, salut tout le monde, Suspect 95, là on est sur VOP TV, on passe un bon temps, j'espère que vous kiffez, on est au Afrima, on est ensemble, VOP TV.
Don't see me like a fool because I don't do giddy giddy giddy. VOP, you don't know somewhere from Ghana representing live and living color. Yeah, Beam Nation President, outside with it. Bless up.
Hello, this is Milo from Ivory Coast. Keep watch Voice of the People TV. Regardez la voix du peuple, la télévision de la voix du peuple. Que Dieu vous bénisse. À très bientôt. Love you so much.
Hi guys, what's up? This is Gaze Baba. I am watching VOP TV. Usually you be told to not touch the dial, but I tell you to touch the dial and increase the volume. You're like, keep it locked, it's Afro Gospel. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shego Aronzo. You're watching VOP. Don't change the dial.
My Joe, fine girl. My Joe, fine babe. Only are you, but on the Fuji was. Yes, don't touch the dial. This is me, Dr. Adiwala Iba. Keep watching VOP TV.
Oh, well, now let's get into, yes, that same story about the NNPCL remittances. How much is that? 3.93 billion naira. So it's, yes, it's a recovery made. Now, the interesting part is the names of those the money were recovered from wasn't mentioned. And that raises questions. I mean, if you recovered that amount of money, we should know who stole the money. If it's an individual, if it's a group of persons, let Nigerians know who you recovered the money from. Now that's on one side. Now there are many, and then you handed it over back. I mean, you recover the money from unnamed NNPCL officials, and then you hand the money back to the NNPCL. And one starts to wonder, what exactly is the logic behind this? Is it the same NNPCL that has questions to answer? Questions of about 210 trillion naira of monies revealed in an audit conducted between 2017 and 2023. It's 210 trillion naira. We're talking about the same NNPCL that is yet to account for a 5.9 billion naira spent on rebranding, adding the L to the NNPC, and then you start to wonder, or is it the same NNPCL where former chief financing officer Umaru Ajiya is being questioned alongside Midi Kyari for about $7.3 billion spent on refinery rehabilitation. You see, NNPC has shown that it's the opacity in the NNPC raises a lot of questions. It has shown that it's not a disciplined organization. Monies have been mismanaged within the NNPCL. And so when you recover funds from some NNPC officials and then you return the money back to NNPC, it buttresses the narrative of looting and relooting, you know, something that we have complained about. Monies recovered from individuals that looted the nation are relooted because of the channels that the monies pass through. And another question is, why are you returning the money to the NNPCL? The money ordinarily should belong to Nigerians. Why not the federal allocation? Why not the FAC account? Why not the FAC account? And you see, the optics don't look good because we're talking about elections around the corner. And by the way, the president remains the minister of the NNPCL. And you know, you start to ask yourself, where exactly is all of this leading to? You can't help but think about the fact that it's towards elections and this money might just be relooted. 3.93 billion naira might go missing again. And Nigerians will, you know, go back and start to ask questions again. Where is the money? Who took the money and all of that? So EFCC, you might sing your praise that you recovered. I mean, you put the lives of your officers on the line, doing your job, and then you recovered funds. But what you've done with it leaves little to be desired, leaves little to be appreciated. I don't see how this is a laudable venture, honestly. Oh, well.
Yes, I'm also not enthused about what information that the information that is coming out from Olukoyede and his team, that where they recovered a paltry, when they say whooping 3.9 billion naira, I consider it paltry, you know, considering how much we are looking for in that NNPC. Moses made reference to a certain 210 trillion naira. Another money that was used for, how many $1 billion that was used for rebranding? 5.9 that was
billion
used for rebranding.
Billion naira.
That was used to change from NNPC to NNPCL.
To add the L.
You know, and a certain amount of money, honestly, I've lost count.
7.9 or
Melek Kyari and co.
The rebranding, the refinery, the
turnaround maintenance
rehabilitation
for 10 years and all of that. In all of these, and EFCC wants to, in fact, they are under the clegg lights, you know, the spotlight is on. In fact, they push the spotlight out, you know, say, well, we have done this, 3.9 billion naira, and it's not whooping its paltry considering how much we are looking. But the worst in all is that in all of these, nobody has been named and shamed. Nobody has been prosecuted, you know, we were not told all of that. And it's possible that, well, those people are still at work. And Moses made reference to, you know, either paying the money to FAC account or what, probably. But my worry is that if you pay it to the FAC account, the central government, the governors and local government will still share the money, and it will still end up in private pockets, you know. So Nigeria is an unusual place.
And then the people will hold their governors accountable.
Yes. You know, and the people will...
But now that it goes back to the NNPC,
nobody is being held accountable.
Of course.
You understand? So it's a second show that we get involved in every other day. And I think the EFCC has outlived its usefulness as far as I'm concerned. We need an anti-graft agency. But for now, the presently constituted EFCC cannot do this job. They are not doing it. I understand that they put their lives in harm's way, you know, just to prosecute and, you know, and normally corruption will always fight back. But until such a time, I understand that the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice supervises the EFCC. That is a ministry is an agency under the Ministry of Justice and all of that. It needs to be moved out of that place and taken to the presidency, where the president has the utmost power, you know, to decide. But unfortunately, we have a president that, well, it's like there's this carrot, no stick approach. And the stick approach is waved when they want to beat somebody or when he wants to beat somebody into line. And so, unfortunately, it is not going to work. So, as far as I'm concerned now, I don't even know the direction that we should travel, because head or tail, we still lose. That's the situation, the way I see it. Anyway, let's move away from that. But EFCC, please just understand that Nigerians are not enthused if you want Nigerians to be happy, please tell us that you have recovered a certain trillions of naira from the 210 that Nigerians are looking for. Now, let's get into another very sad story. Now, the Union of Retired Police Officers under the Contributory Pension Scheme has issued a stark ultimatum announcing plans for a massive peaceful protest at the Presidential Villa, Aso Rock, in Abuja on Tuesday, that's next week, if the president fails to sign into law by March 23 the bill passed by the National Assembly to remove the Nigeria Police Force entirely from the controversial CPS and establish a dedicated Nigeria Police Pension Board instead. Transmitted to the presidency on February 23, the bill faces a constitutional 30-day assent window, but retirees accuse authorities of dragging their feet, leaving thousands of former officers who served the nation for decades in dire straits amid skyrocketing living costs. While many pensioners describe heartbreaking realities, living in abject poverty, unable to feed their families, withdrawing children from school, nursery to university levels, skipping medical treatments, and facing total financial ruin despite loyal service. Well, leaders from the Kaduna chapter, including retired SP Mani M. Lawal and ASP Danlami Marigamu, who announced the move after their March 18 meeting at the police officers' mess in Kaduna, have called on their national coordinator to rally members from all 36 states and the FCT for what could be a nationwide show of force. There you have it. This contributory pension scheme. This thing is very simple. You contribute, your employer contributes, and at the end of the day, you are supposed to have access to it. So what is the problem? Why are they? I have a friend here, who worked in a certain establishment. He's retired now, but he's still active in service. And every other, and by the end of the month, he receives his alert from the from the pension funds manager. So what is the problem with the police fund? You recall that at some point we had a certain miner, who was in charge of this police fund, and he walked away with how much? About 72 billion naira and all of that. We went back and forth. He ran away. Interpol arrested him and brought him back. They sentenced him, and he dipped his hand inside his pocket, paid the penalty and all of that, walked away. They rearrested him, and at some point the Abuja branch of the NBA, bestowed an honor on him, and so that is what we see. That's how we roll as a country. It's quite unfortunate. Well, let me speak for the policemen, even though a lot of Nigerians are not happy with the police force too. But then, a worker deserves his wage, If they have contributed, to the contributory, mandatory contribution, to the fund, it's natural justice demands that they should have access to it. A lot of them, just like many Nigerians, are going through a lot. You see people withdraw their awards from private schools and put them in public schools. You see people unable to attend to medical demands because they cannot afford private clinics. And when they go to general hospitals, government hospitals, public hospitals, either there are no consultants there or there are no drugs. The nurses are not working because they are on strike. Resident doctors are on strike at one point or the other. You go to the power sector, there's a problem. You go to transport sector, there's a problem. In the energy sector, there's a problem. So everywhere we have problems in this country. And I've always said, one thing that leaders can do is when you come, just face one sector. If you can't do all,
maybe per year, face one sector.
Face one sector and just work it out. Let Nigerians know, okay, we have settled with this. Now, we know that there are ones that need continuous improvement and all of that. You can continue to improve on all of those ones. But we have a situation where we have a government that right from the day they came into office, they started planning for 2027. And up until now, everything is still about 2027. I'm tired of all of this, honestly.
Please don't get tired, because this country, like Moses said, belongs to you and I. I would
like
like
Moses
to take
said.
Yes, you and I. I would like to take it from this other
You don't believe
side.
it does?
I do. I'm a Nigerian. I love my country. I just wish that someday, sometime, maybe in my lifetime or my grandchildren's lifetime, we'll see a Nigerian.
Not even your
Nigerian.
children.
Yeah,
your grandchildren.
Realistically speaking.
Expectations.
Yes,
okay.
that's
Yeah,
what
if
might
it's not
happen.
happening in your lifetime,
It
will
might not
then
happen
as well.
It might not happen. Is Hydra headed? I think if those who have served, ahead of the crop of policemen we currently have are suffering, what do you want this current crop to do when they know that even when I retire, this is the hardship? And you're saying they shouldn't do the unthinkable. You're saying they shouldn't take bribes. bribes. They're saying they shouldn't stand on the road and extort people. It can't work.
Because the fact of the matter is, taking
Morale
bribes
is low.
and all of that still will not secure their future.
Oh yes, but I'm just saying the morale is low already.
Of course, the morale is low. So what they should do is, when the people come out to protest and ask for better living conditions, they should back the people.
How?
They should allow the people, protect the people from invaders, those that will invade the protest. So they should, rather than push out fire, tear gas, and disperse the people and arrest people,
So you're saying they should go
and
out,
handle people.
They should not heed to the...
No, they should protect the people.
Protect the people.
Yes.
But don't you think
Protect
they also
protesters,
act
which
on,
is constitutionally right.
But don't you think they're also acting on instructions? Just saying.
Well, yeah, well, they might be acting on instructions, but which is better? Protect the people that are clamoring for better living conditions that will, when it trickles down, it gets to you as well, than manhandle the people, and then when you start to protest, the people will also turn their backs on you.
Yes.
Because that is
So-
exactly what will happen.
So in all of this, what I want to say is, if 7 police officers, will go and disperse the retired police
If they're
officers.
asked to.
I'm just wondering too.
How
They
it will
probably
happen.
will. Oh, well, let's move away from that conversation. Let's run to the papers now. We have The Guardian here, and we'll touch on other papers as well. The window headlines from The Guardian: PDP reconciliation shaky despite renewed talks as divisions persist. Eid al-Fitr, Senate leaders preach peace, unity, compassion amid global tensions. House warns of imminent fuel price hike, scarcity, really. Global Terrorism Index, opposition CSOs flay federal government over worst rating, 46% surge in killings. And then we have other headlines here. Terrorism, CDS did not accuse Borno Yobe residents of complicity. Nigeria UK seal deal on migration, border security, improved trade. NRC rolls out special salad train services nationwide. Okay. ADC faults ASU CSOs over silence on certificate forgery law. Atsala, Yawata, Sule preach unity, sacrifice, compassion. Now those are the headlines on the cover page of The Guardian.
Let's move over to the Vanguard newspaper. Fresh fears of higher petrol price as crude hits $114 per barrel. Eid al-Fitr, Tinubu, Akpabio, governors, others felicitate Muslims. Transport moguls shift focus on vehicle assembling. Insecurity, local cooperation critical to ending insurgency, says CDS. Tinubu Starmer signed £407 million deal to refurbish 2 major Nigerian ports. APC government has failed. Nigeria now 4th global terror epicenter, says the ADC. These are the lead stories on the front page of the Vanguard.
Okay, now let's quickly run through the Nigerian Tribune with the window headlines. Dangote, NLNG, others account for 85% of LPG supply in February 2026. That's the Nigerian Tribune. Barge operators lament over lack of berthing space at Apapa Port. Nigeria eyes 30 trillion naira windfall as oil prices surge over $115 per barrel. Now the big story, reps warn of imminent petrol scarcity. Price hike over Dangote supply gaps. With the riders, seek urgent intervention of Presidential Technical Committee on Crude for Fuel initiative. Cost of goods set to rise as manufacturers face higher energy input costs. More stories from the Tribune. Tinubu governors, others felicitate Muslims at Eid al-Fitr. Nigeria's 4th global terror ranking confirms Tinubu's failure. ADC, OB. And another big headline there. Tinubu Starmer hold talks as Nigeria, UK seal £746 million port deals. With the riders, both countries sign agreement to boost border security, migration, visas. Agree on deal targeting failed asylum seekers, criminals. We must strengthen mutually beneficial economic cooperation. Tinubu. And in the health world, number of children you may have influence lifespan. That's coming from a study. And that's it from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
All right, let's get into our major conversation. The very first to unfold today, bilateral ties. Nigeria, United Kingdom seal £746 million
loan deal to revamp Tinkan Apapa ports. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice. In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bomakore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from The Real Housewives of Lagos and The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. Shout out to VOP, the voice of the people. You already know. Stay tuned, keep watching. And don't forget, VOP is the best.
Alright, hello, it's about that shagging the man fine back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know why you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers whatever live. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Ginny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news, we analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News. Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
When I first heard VOP, I thought they were talking about me because I'm a voice-over personality. But no, this is Voice of the People TV, and you are riveted forever because this is the place to be.
Yo guys, your boy Chela. Shout out to VOP TV. I love you guys.
Salut, salut tout le monde, Suspect 95, là on est sur VOP TV, on passe un bon temps, j'espère que vous kiffez, on est au Afrima, on est ensemble, VOP TV.
Don't see me like a fool because I don't do giddy giddy giddy. VOP, you don't know somewhere from Ghana representing live and living color. Yeah, Beam Nation president, outside with it. Bless up.
Hello, this is Milo from Ivory Coast. Keep watch Voice of the People TV. Regardez la voix du peuple, la télévision de la voix du peuple. Que Dieu vous bénisse. À très bientôt. Love you so much.
Hi guys, what's up? This is Gaze Baba, and you're watching VOP TV. Usually you'll be told to not touch the dial, but I tell you to touch the dial and increase the volume. You're like, keep it locked. It's Afro Gospel. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shego Aronzo. You're watching VOP. Don't change the dial.
My Joe, fine girl. My Joe, fine babe. Yes, don't touch the dial. This is me, Dr. Adewale Iba. Keep watching VOP TV.
I'm Sarah Nystrom from Sweden, aka Chief Omobawale, Communication Queen. Keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, I'm Samantha Jacobs representing the States. Miami's in the house, and I want to make a shout out to VOP TV. I'm a humanitarian, and I'm also a rep in the film industry and the art industry. I help dreams come true, and I help you keep on that path. Shout out to VOP TV because you're helping people stay on their path too. Cheers.
All right, my name is John Odibo. Keep watching Voice of the People because it's a fantastic station to be with all the time. Thank you very much.
My name is Pastor Elvis Ciro, the convener of the Voice Achievers Award, and keep watching VOP. Yes, that is the channel for all the people. No color, no race. Thank you so much.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is Abbas Sunkan from the Netherlands. I am a designer and I'm here in Eco Hotel and Suits. Keep watching VOP, the voice of the people. Don't touch that dial.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
In a world where power shapes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Ampelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, Live it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not continue talk, please discuss.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is VOP this morning. Nigeria and the United Kingdom have sealed a massive £746 million export finance deal to completely overhaul the congested Apapa and Tinkan Iron Line port complexes in Lagos, the country's busiest gateways that have long caused endless delays, high shipping costs, and skyrocketing prices for everyday goods. Well announced during President Bola Tinubu's historic two-day state visit to London on March 19, 2026, the first by a Nigerian leader in 37 years. UK Export Finance will guarantee the loans, with British Steel supplying 120,000 tons of steel under a £70 million contract, and at least 20% of project components coming from UK friends. Well, Nigeria's Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola, hailed the project as a game changer that will position the country as West and Central Africa's leading maritime hub, while UK Trade Secretary Peter Kyle praised the boost to British jobs and growth. Well, the deal witnessed by Tinubu and Prime Minister Keir Starmer at Downing Street is expected to unlock £236 million in extra UK supply contracts and ease the port bottlenecks that have frustrated traders and consumers for years. The ports agreement is just one highlight of Tinubu's visit, which Special Advisor Sunday Daro described as a bold reset of Nigeria-UK relations after decades of slow progress, with new memoranda of understanding on trade, investment, defense, security, and cultural ties now on the table, including stronger counter-terrorism cooperation against threats from Sahel. Well, House Committee on Foreign Affairs Chairman Oluwole Oke declared the trip has repositioned Nigeria on the global stage, earning fresh international confidence in Tinubu's reforms. We've been joined in the studio here, where we're broadcasting from, by Mr. Asim Adam. Mr. Adam is a constitutional lawyer, but he's here in the capacity of a public affairs analyst. Beside him, we have Mr. Lawale Kundayo, who is an educationist, but he's also here in the capacity of a public affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us on VOP this morning. We appreciate your presence.
Good morning. Good morning.
Mr. Adams, let me start with you, straight into it. £746 million deal, loan, for revamping the Tinkan ports, complex, two port complexes that we have in Nigeria. I'd like for us to start with the fact that it is a deal which we have been told now is a loan, to be, from the UK Export Finance, Corporation. That is the organization giving it. But we also understand that the high components, of this deal, with the steel structure, is coming from UK. We also have been told by the UK's Trade Secretary that, it is going to help boost, UK jobs in the UK and all of that. So apparently, this deal, what is Nigeria's stake in all of this? Is it just the revamping and
I would like for you to react, holistically to this trade deal between Nigeria, this loan deal between Nigeria and the United Kingdom.
Well, for me, I think I have said before now that I am not against government taking loans.
Okay.
But how do you manage the loans? How you use the loans? Because if you take loans and you embezzle, then you put the nation in more problem. But when you take loans from any part of the world and you put the loan to use, for the good of the people, I think it's a welcome development. Now, for the Port Authority, I don't see any reason why, I was even thinking that maybe they could, take care of themselves. Because that is the, second, highest earner in terms of revenue for Nigeria after oil. That is from what we were told. Nigeria Custom, turning the second highest earning capabilities, from that particular port, the port in Apapa, as the case may be. So if we have a situation of that nature, and you put the loan into use to be able to revamp, I don't know what they are revamping there.
Okay.
I'm not an expert in maritime or whatever the case may be, but whatever they are revamping, if it's truly done, it means that to revamp is to upgrade. To revamp is to open up that place for a better use and capacity. Now, if that is what they are doing, I believe it's a good take in the right direction.
Okay.
And in terms of taking the loans, it's going to create jobs for more people, more Nigerians, more revenue for the country, as the case may be, and it will also keep hope alive, between the UK and the Nigerian, the economic, aspect of it. Because under our constitution, if you look at section 19, there's what we call foreign policy direction. And the essence of that foreign policy directions of government, that is the federal government right now, is for them to maybe hobnob and do one or two things with other nations of the world for the good of the people and to enhance more development in the economy, etc., as the case may be. So that is the purpose of the loan. I don't have anything against
Okay, that's the purpose. Now, there's something I would like for us to review. And the steel supply, the British Steel will supply 120,000 tons of steel under a 70 million contract. And at least 20% of project components coming from UK firms, So 120,000 tons of steel. How long, should Nigeria realize that? How longer will it take us to realize that we have a steel complex here that has been lying moribund, for 3 or 4 decades, and we are unable to revive it. And in a loan deal like this, it's not as if they are going to transfer the money into CBN accounts. They are going to be giving us steel, from their own company, from the British company, and they are already making gains from that. And we are also still paying interest on the loan and all of that. How much longer should it take our leadership to realize that we should revive our steel complex here in Nigeria?
That has been the problem. The steel company, I remember Alaja, as we used to call it then, and the one at Okene and Kogi, it is as the case may be, it was left, to go fallow. I wouldn't know, but from what I read, I heard that there were some technical deficiencies that were involved in the construction of that Alaja steel. And so it's a monumental fraud, a national monumental fraud that I thought that, companies or individuals that were involved in that fraud, should have by now be prosecuted. Or the government would have, gone far to find a way to see if we can revamp that particular, the steel industry through Ajakuta and the ones that we have there. But I don't know why they have neglected it. A lot of people are placed on the doorstep of Tinubu. I said, no, it's not Tinubu's government. That has been a failure of the part of leadership in all, from 1999 to date. No particular administration has even deemed it fit to say we should revamp this steel industry, as the case may be. So it's a big loss for us.
Okay.
But what are we going to do now? Are we going to say because our steel, whatever is down, then we should not do whatever we are doing in the UK.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay,
let us, there should be a stopgap approach that we are using now. Why they put that into play?
My direct question was, how much longer should it take? But I
it
think
can take eternity if you have a bad leadership and bad leaders without focus.
Right. Let's bring Mr. Kundayo into this conversation. Mr. Kundayo, the UK Trade Secretary, Peter Kyle, praised the boost to British jobs and growth from this deal, 120,000 tons of steel. Our own operatives said that this deal has repositioned Nigeria on the global stage without telling us, the deliverables on the Nigerian people. So I would like for you to compare. Yes,
without telling us the labor gains. You only told us about the political gains.
The repositioning of Nigeria at the global stage, because you took a loan, from another country,
in order to get a political gain, just to have your name, in a global setting.
Okay.
Not for labor setting, not to talk about how to improve the working condition or the number of people that have been, employed. It's not part of why they went there. And when Barrister was talking about the gain and everything, this still something, I look at it very well. Because I remember when the president came on board, I will never forget that day. He said, subsidy gone. He said, subsidy gone. Now, why can't you have something like, importation of steel gone? Why can't we have this issue of Nigerian refinery not working, gone? You get what I'm saying? Now, we are going to UK to get this same steel. I'm not against that. I have a headache for two things. One, we are talking about decongesting Tinkan Island in Lagos. And we keep doing the same thing in the same place. You can't expand the land. Land is a fixed asset. So if it's congested, that means the fixed asset cannot be expanded again because it's a land. Tinkan land is a land. So if it's congested, that means it cannot be expanded. Then what happens to other ports that could have been revamped so that they can take care of the congestion in Tinkan Island? Why is the president not going to that place to see how they can help us or how we can, decongest Tinkan Island?
It just brings me to the question I was going to ask, actually. I was going to ask if revamping the ports or an upgrade to the ports will fix the issue of access road to the ports, the issue of tankers
land is fixed.
on the road.
You can't expand land any further.
Road. You don't think it's going to make any impact in that regard?
See, it's already, that's why I said land is a fixed asset.
Yes, but what if structures? I mean, you can build structures. So
no matter what you do, the land is fixed, for God's sake. If you build a train on top and then you build a tube under, what else are you going to do? You put a plane over that same road. What else are you going to do? It's fixed, for God's sake. It's fixed. Now, that is why we have other ports. Nigeria has other ports, but these ports are not revamped. Why is it not part of what is taken to UK for revamping?
Okay.
Why are the other ports not part of it? Why is it always this Tinkan? It's fixed, for God's sake.
All right.
What are they going to do to it? Then the second one is this Ajakuta. Why are we not revamping the Ajakuta? Why is it not part of what is put on the table? This thing that the president went there to do could have been done by any other lesser, part of the administration. Could have been done by the minister. Could have been done by even the experts going there.
Oh well, the president was invited, so he's there, because.
No, I'm not against going.
The invitation, okay.
But now the NSA went there along. You get it? Is it part of this revamping? That's why you took the.
Yeah, but there's always also security cooperation.
Yeah, I hope we'll be able to see what is going on. Now the thing is this.
Now let's look at the political side to this. Why the UK at this time? The ports, Nigerian ports, Nigeria, UK, bilateral trade. Why do you think Nigeria is looking the way of the United Kingdom? Or why do you think the United Kingdom is showing an interest in this bilateral trade at this time? Do you have any, anything to say in that regard?
See, every world leader is looking for what is going to take from the other world. From the other country.
what he's going to take.
Yes, what's going to take? That's the deal now.
So you think
it
United
must be give
Kingdom
and
is
take. So then look at what they can get from you. If it's something that they think is big.
Now, as a Nigerian, and you're saying that they are looking at what they can get from us. What do you think we are getting back?
That's why their own foreign policy. You must design your foreign policy. It's not a crime, because if you have your own people and your people elected you, so you need to take care of your people. So whatever you are giving to another country, you must be able to tell what your people will get from it, because it's not your money and people didn't vote you there to go and just enjoy yourself. They vote you into the office or put you there in order for you to bring benefit to them. So if you are giving to a country, you must be able to get something for your own country. That's why they are talking about that as revamping. We are not saying it's not, I'm not saying I'm against it. But I am saying the decongesting of the tin can, the revamping of our steel industry, it's been there for how many years? It's one of the, something is supposed to be the priority that we're supposed to discuss with the UK, because they are very advanced when it comes to technology, and then they have their own steel industry working.
All right, sir.
So we could have taken part of that technology. Oh, come to Nigeria, come and help us do an overhaul of our system, design something such that within the next 6 months, our own Ajakuta steel will work.
All right.
That's what I expected. Second, I expect how we can decongest Tinkan Island and create development in other areas.
All right.
You see, I wanted to, let me just add something to this, to what he's saying. Let me say, in the whole wide world, there are busy ports, there are busy airports. For instance, if you like decongest the Tinkan Island, or the Lagos port as we call it, as the case may be, from the attitude of most Nigerians and businessmen, it will still be the busiest and the most crowded. Let me use the word. For instance, we have so many international airports in Nigeria here, but Murtala Mohammed International Airport is the busiest of all. I've asked the question, why can't you fly from Malam Aminu Kano International Airport outside of Nigeria? Or you go to Enugu, even Port Harcourt Airport is international. But people in Port Harcourt do not even want to use that airport. They come in, I'm asking the question, I'm coming, okay. I'm going somewhere. Okay. There's a mentality question that we must have to answer. You understand? So I've seen people bandy that argument that Tinkan Island or whatever has to be decongested, has to be done. That is the essence of what they are trying to do right now. If you go through the history of that particular port, you will know exactly what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
It's strategic. You understand? It is strategic, number one. Also, they feel that it's even better if you revamp than even building new ones, as the case may be. It will be cost, effective as the case may be. So these are things that want us to jumble together.
Barrister Adams, don't you think that, well, the attitude of Nigerians, like for the international airport that you're talking about, are you aware that some of the international airports are just international?
Why?
On paper.
Why?
On paper.
Why is it like that?
Yes, because the authorities, involved, just designate them international airport, but they are unable, to transfer equipment that will make them truly international.
No, that is...
Some of the, like Enugu now, Enugu International Airport is only international by name. They have been looking for slots from British Airways, from United and all of that.
The reason is because of the traffic, the flow.
Yes,
the traffic is the reason why you see most airlines don't always want to go there, because, for instance, even the local airlines, as case may be, there are times.
I want to draw our attention to a report, by the federal government about this time last year, where they granted Shagori Group. They gave them $700 million contract to revamp the same Tinkan. And it's not been elected. That
should be the argument. That for me should be the real talk we should be talking about.
Yeah.
But whether it needs revamping is out of it for me. But whether this particular pumping of money for revamping on a yearly basis, what have they done, I can understand.
Okay.
You understand?
I can understand. Let me ask you again. Yes. Are you aware, you are familiar with Port Harcourt, are you aware that there is a port at One?
I know. See, I know.
There's a port at One.
Do you know
there are some ocean liners that cannot bet there.
They can't bet.
So why don't you expand it?
It's not so. Even the river, go through the report given. Let us not politicize this.
Okay.
It's been politicized for a very long time. I'm not speaking for them. But you go there and you find out that There's a reason why those ports are not, how will I put it now, technically available for use right now.
Why? Are you aware
the
that
report is there?
Are you aware that there are
the
some
report,
straits?
The report is there.
There are some straits. There are some straits like canals,
yes,
shipping routes that are man-made.
See,
that are man-made.
See, you can do whatever you want to do there. But what I'm saying,
what are the reasons?
That is technical reasons. There's a report on that some of them are deep sea ports. Some of them has whatever they call. I don't know how to.
You said it is all about in the play of politics.
I wish to say something.
It's not politics. That's what I want to say.
Sir, let me clarify something. Even before this Tin Can Island port, do you know there was a port that was operating even before this Tin Can? We have ports in Calabar. We have this Port Harcourt. All of them were functioning. You get it? Now you are talking about traffic. That Lagos will remain traffic, but I didn't agree with you. Do you know why?
No, just give your own opinion.
Yes.
Good. The reason is because that everybody has been diverted to that bottleneck, which is the Tin Can. That's why you have a congestion. You have so many population in Lagos State. Because anybody who imports, if you import your goods and that goods is needed in Benue State, and there's no port, you have to pass through Tin Can. So when you pass through Tin Can,
you're not transport
you transfer back to Benue. You can see if you have your goods, you need it close to maybe Imo State or Anambra. The port is not there. The Port Harcourt is not working. You have to divert through Tin Can.
So in essence, you're saying
they definitely created that bottleneck.
There's even a dry port in Niger State. There's a dry port in Niger State. You understand? Built by the government, but it's not being used. The essence is to decongest, Tin Can. You have dry ports all over the places. They are not being used.
Sorry, please.
It's about the traffic. I'm telling you, the mentality of the Nigerian business people is what is causing all these things here.
All right.
There's a dry port in Onitsha. There's a dry port even in, they call the place Baru also in Niger State. But nobody is using them.
Well, okay.
So these are things, for lighter vessels. Nobody is using them.
Some Nigerians will say that if these ports are put to use, especially the Calabar ports and on their ports, if they are revamped, dredged and put to use, traders, business people will automatically, especially those that, like he said, want to move goods to that area, they will just from the sea divert straight down there, because it will reduce cost on road transportation, because the rail system isn't exactly effective.
It's not working.
So you cannot move things via rail. So heavy duty things will just divert straight to the port. I mean, that's
it's as simple as that. As simple as that. But technically speaking, I knew there are reports which I read that made it near impossible for them to do that enlargement as
I wish you could just share.
Yes, I didn't know we were going to discuss this. But maybe when I get back, I'll research it and send so that you people know.
Like to have
yes, absolutely.
Another thing is this. You see, ports are always dredged, because if you want the type of container you want to pass there, they will dredge it so that the container can pass there. That is why you have the ports. Ports were not like that before. It was just small ship or a boat. But when it's got that place is commercial center or it's good to build a port, then they construct a port there. They dredge that place and make it workable for ships to dock there. Now, what I am saying is that there's no excuse that those other ports cannot work. Because you can tell me that these ports were already functioning even before Tin Can. So what happened? That eventually we'll have everything diverted to Lagos. But I remember when I was small, when you read history, you'll be coming across Calabar Port.
And by the way, if memory serves me right, I think government is also talking about Lagos State government.
Even there's port in Badagry,
Lagos State government is also talking about creating a port around the Lekki-Ajah axis. Am I right?
Yes. Look at Dangote oil. It's being picked close to Dangote. What did they do to that place? Was not a port before now, but now they made it something which the ships can pick their oil from that place. Okay, so did they not do construction there? They put it right.
So in essence, what is your summation of this? Let's wrap up now. Let's have concluding thoughts.
There are other areas that can accommodate ports in Nigeria. It will help to develop the inland areas and decongest those areas that are congested, make our roads workable, because when you have heavy duty traffic too much passing through a certain road, it will damage that road. It will reduce that congestion on those roads and then the traffic will be moved to other areas, and then those roads will work.
All right.
You will not be required to repair them every now and then. So what I'm saying that you can't tell me okay, in the Adamawa state, you have to bring it to Tinkan Island. From Tinkan Island, you take it to Adamawa state. You take it to Taraba state.
All right.
Where you have places.
So let's have you wrap up with your concluding thoughts.
I'm okay with that.
All right, so that's your concluding thought. Thank you very much, Lawale Kunle.
I wanted to point attention, but when we talk, there are people who have technical whatever in all these things. Yes. For us, we are just running commentaries. This is a report, this day newspaper.
All right then.
He said the official hydrographic survey put on a spot currently controlling depth between 10.6 meters and 11.4 meters according to 2020 to 2021 data, hydrographic data.
Okay.
While modern containers, ship require 13 to 15 meters.
Okay.
It requires 13 to 15, this day, whatever now.
Yes.
So it requires 13 to 15 meters. That is modern day, whatever.
So the argument it can be dredged, it can be expanded.
That gap decides who docks and who diverts. Okay. Do you understand the point now? And how much importers pay. So these are technical reports. Why those reports are not active. So what we should be talking about is that why government is doing this. Why can't they let them also go and revamp and do the rest? Why are they not doing that?
So Barrister Adam, before we leave the port and go to the rails, that report, they did cite, is there any part of the report that cited that the name that you reference cannot be expanded, that it can be?
I have not. I just took the bullet points of what I have here.
Okay, so what you read,
in essence to our discourse here.
Yes.
You understand?
From the report you read, at the moment, that is the depth.
That is the depth.
Okay.
That is the reason.
Then the report didn't say that it cannot be expanded.
He didn't say so, but he said that is the reason why people run away from there. Why they come to Lagos.
And that's exactly the point. Why don't you deepen it and expand it?
Well, I wouldn't know. That is, he said, that is why people, the mentality, that is why people come here and they don't want to go to.
No, it's not about mentality. It's because people are constrained. And that is why they have to come to Lagos.
When ships cannot berth fully loaded, they offload elsewhere. Containers meant for end up in Lagos. So this is a report. I'm talking about the technical report now. So if maybe you read it,
all right,
then we can have more insight on why government is consciously not, revamping or whatever the other ones are saying.
Okay, I like the word consciously not revamping.
Yes.
Just like consciously not revamping the Ajakuta still doing.
Yes.
They are consciously not revamping.
So we have to have those facts before we can discuss this. Otherwise, we need to talk from the outside.
Peripheral. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's move on to another conversation. This is basically on the state of the nation. Nigeria leads countries with highest petrol price hike since the start of the Middle East conflict. All right. Let's talk about this when we come back from this break.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is Africa News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Welcome back, and you're still watching VOP this morning. Nigeria is bearing the brunt of the escalating US-Israel-Iran war in the Middle East, topping the world with the steepest petrol price surge since the conflict began, a staggering 39.5% increase in pump prices from February 23rd to March 16, 2026, far outpacing other nations like Laos, who have 32.9%, Australia and Vietnam both 31.8%, and the US 23.6%. According to the Cable Index analysis of the global petrol prices data, this spike, driven by massive global oil supply disruptions, including threats to the Strait of Hormuz, has pushed retail petrol costs in Nigeria to as high as 1,200 naira and 1,300 naira per litre in many areas, with Dangote Refinery repeatedly hiking ex-gantry prices recently to 1,175 naira per litre amid crude benchmarks soaring past $84, $90 per barrel. Despite domestic refinery hopes from Dangote to shield consumers, global freight hikes, premium Nigerian crude costs, and no government price controls have fueled the crisis, doubling transport fares on key routes, inflating goods, food, and good prices, and deepening hardship for everyday Nigerians already grappling with economic pressures. Compounding the pain, a Bloomberg report warns that many African countries, especially in eastern and southern regions reliant on Middle East imports for up to 75% of fuel, are more weeks away from outright shortages as the Iran war chokes shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, slashing about 600,000 barrels of daily supply to the continent. Nations like Kenya, with Gulf contracts, face acute risk, while underinvested refineries and forex shortages leave governments scrambling for pricier alternatives from distant sources, outbid by richer economies, triggering inflation spikes, potential queues, and economic setbacks. In Nigeria, even with Dangote ramping production, the inability to fully offset lost imports heightens vulnerability, prompting urgent calls for strategic reserves and diversification as ordinary citizens face skyrocketing living costs and energy access woes amid this global energy shockwave. That's quite a mouthful. Barrister Asim, I would like to take you up on this. We were told that the coming of Dangote Refinery will help us absorb some of these shocks when we have unstable global fuel prices. So why is it that even with the coming of Dangote Refinery, we're still worse hits, amongst a lot of oil-producing nations in the world?
It still goes back to very bad leadership. Leadership that is rudderless, leadership that has no focus. Now, we depend on only Dangote Refinery as the only refinery for, Nigeria with a population of 220 million people. So even if Dangote is operating at its, the highest capacity, we may be having, similar problems of this nature, even when there's no crisis in the Gulf region, as case may be. 2, Nigeria do not have reserves. Many countries of the world, America prepared for eventualities. So what they do is that in peacetime, they fill their reserve tanks. The same thing with even in the oil producing areas, Oman, Saudi Arabia, etc., as case may be. But Nigeria do not have any oil reserves, that we have capacity here in Nigeria. The third one is this. People must know that oil is a commodity that is priced with the foreign currency. So even if Dangote a refinery is sited in Nigeria here, when it comes to pricing of crude that they buy, you pay equivalent of the dollar exchange. So if it's $100 per barrel, the naira equivalent is what you really pay to Dangote, whoever will take, as case may be. That is it. Now, the question we also ask is that made this possible, we do not have what they call price control boards in Nigeria. There is no nation in the world that do not have price control boards. Most of the countries that we look up to, Britain, US, Germany, etc., you can't just come up in the morning and increase whatever you want to do. Even in the supermarkets, you don't fix prices. They work against profiteering. And that is why you see there was a situation that happened in the UK during the time of Margaret Thatcher, where you have spikes in the oil or whatever, like we are having now. Thatcher got, I think it was during the Gulf War or something like that, because it affected a lot of countries. And Britain, for instance, oil prices per pump, spiked. Thatcher came out and said that we will not allow this kind of a thing to happen. That because there is deregulation does not mean that government cannot regulate prices, as the case may be. So the Nigerian, government, I don't know what exactly happened to our price control board here in Nigeria here. Consumer Protection Board, etc., I don't know what they are doing. So people just wake up in the morning and increase prices. And I've said, why will oil marketers, Petron as they call them, why will they, increase price even above other countries of the world? Whereas the stock that they have before this war came out is what they are selling. And they bought it at a very low price, not with the current, price. Because I am aware that if you want to even import, PMS from any part of the world to Nigeria, it will take about a month or two for that vessel to arrive, for you to now begin to distribute. So they have never gotten the new stock that will now say, okay, we bought at a price that is higher than what we used to know. It is the old stock they still have at their various depots. So why should that be? That is the failure of government and the bad attitude of bureaucracy, in my own opinion. And government must have to do what? Government must have to be up and about. And even though the sector is deregulated, they have to regulate it. Petron, I saw the chairman came out that day and said that it is what is happening in the world that they have to go. That once the price of a crude reduces, they will reduce their prices. I said, no, that is not going to happen in Nigeria here. The Nigerian man, is a profiteer by nature and by mentality. He wants to make extra profit from situations of this nature. That is why we see this thing. People with deaded conscience are the ones operating. So how be it that even America that has a deregulated, petroleum sector, is lower. The price is even lower there than what we have. In the UK, they are not even complaining because the prices have not gone up astronomically like what we have in Nigeria here. So it's failure of government and the selfishness and greed of the people or the marketers. That is what is causing all this.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Ikundaya, let's do like a rough forecast. If this war continues in the next 1 month, 3 weeks, are we going to see a collapse or a breakdown of the economy? That's one. And then two, can Nigeria survive a 1,500 naira per litre, 2,000 naira? What will happen to the average Nigerian at this rate?
Nigeria always they are very resilient.
So we will survive.
We always it's not survival.
We'll find a way.
Use the word barely. We just barely manage our life. Just keep moving on. Like even if you just be going like a camel. Now, that is who we are. I don't know where we became what we are, like, because this is not who we are in the first. Now, let me go to this issue of why this oil is affecting Nigeria. I think it's a deceit for anybody in Nigeria, whether government, to tell us that what is happening in the Middle East is affecting Nigeria. I think it's deceit because we don't use Strait of Hormuz. We don't import from Middle East. So how does it affect us? We have our own oil.
No, we import fuel. We largely import the finished...
No, what I'm saying that we don't import crude oil. That's what I want to say. We don't.
Yes.
We have nothing to
now
do.
The question I want, the question I'm pointing to is that we import the finished product largely. Now, if the countries, allow me to land my question, if the countries we import from the Strait of Hormuz, wouldn't that affect the price here?
We have Dangote. Is that not what the government have been telling us? We have Dangote. And Dangote is in Lagos here. And our oil is coming from part of Lagos.
And we also understand that Dangote is not getting what it needs to refine products for Nigerians. Dangote asked for 13 cargoes, but he gets only 5.
That's why I said anybody...
And then he has to import the rest.
That's why I said anybody who tells us that what is happening in...
No, but from what I've said, doesn't it buttress the fact that we are largely importing, and that ordinarily will affect the price of fuel?
I'll keep saying what I'm saying. That's why anybody who tells us that what is happening in the Middle East is affecting our oil, our fuel here, is deceiving us. Okay. Because even the government, you can't tell us what we produce, what we have in Nigeria. We have crude oil in Nigeria, we have refinery in Nigeria, and then you are telling us international price. Is it not for you to take part of the crude?
Does Dangote buy in, if he buys in Naira, does he buy the dollar equivalent, or do they give him at a reduced price?
That is where I am going.
Okay.
That's why I said it's a deceit. It's a deceit, because you can't tell me you have oil in Nigeria, crude oil, you have refinery in Nigeria, and then you are selling at international price. Anybody who asks you that question, that, okay, why? And the government will not tell us that, okay, we sell to Dangote at international price. Then the question is...
Okay, so you're saying it is wrong to do that?
Yes! Okay. That's why I say it's a deceit. It's a way of, it's a gradual deceit that we have come to accept as normal. Okay. Because it's not normal for you to say you have oil, crude oil, very close to Dangote,
okay,
and then Dangote, you now sell to Dangote at international price, Dangote now sell it to Nigeria at international price, and the question is, can't you just give it to Dangote at the normal price of Nigeria, so that Nigeria can get it at a good price? Because that's why I said what is happening in the Middle East has nothing to do, because we don't even pass here. Our crude oil passes through the Atlantic Ocean to wherever it's going to deliver it to. Do we pass through almost? Nothing. All right. And then you are telling us it's affecting.
Let me come back to Barrister Chief Asim Adams now. Well, you said something about price control.
That's right.
Wouldn't that defeat the free market analogy of free pricing of fuel, the product and all of that?
It will not. Why it will not do that is this: the people.
With the removal of subsidy.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. You know exactly what you bring in your fuel.
Yes.
You know exactly whatever you are to add to it for you to make your profit. If you are to add like 20 naira per liter for you to make your profit, cap, you cannot go beyond that, even though it is regulated. That is what I'm saying. We know how much you bring your fuel down to Nigeria here. We know how much you put in to make your gain. They are not saying you should not make your profit. But when you scale it to profiteering, instead of making 20 naira per liter, you're not making 100 naira per liter. The government must come in, whether it's the regulator or whatever the case may be. Then the second one is that Dangote gets our oil, crude, with the oil pricing, because all over the world, that is why you see crude oil, they'll tell you it's $100 per barrel. Whether it's Dangote that is buying from Nigeria or anybody buying from Nigeria, it is $100 per barrel. So a Dangote will come in and buy at $100 per barrel. The only difference now is that instead of paying in dollars, he can pay in naira as a Nigerian person. Okay. How do you now bring down the price? Because you cannot ask Dangote, who bought a per barrel at $100, to now sell below that. That is where subsidy now comes in. Okay. In Korea, for instance, let me tell you now, in Korea, for instance, what happened was this, because Korea gets, about 30% of their energy, whatever, from that, Iran or whatever the case may be. What did they do? When they found out that this was going to affect them, Japan and the rest of them. In fact, oil that leaves that Hormuz, about 40% of it goes to Asia, as the case may be. So the government came out with a policy of subsidy, even though there's no subsidy before, but they said because of this period, for the period the war is going to last, so that our people don't suffer, we are going to be subsidizing, whatever the case may be, so that our people can buy at a reduced whatever. We are not going to dictate the price to the marketers. But once we get to that level, it's okay, marketers, please, so that you reduce the suffering, let us, out of what we are supposed to make, let's subsidize it 100 naira.
So basically, if I understand you clearly, what you're saying now is the government of Nigeria should bring back subsidy.
Not bringing it back, just to sustain this period that we are having these problems.
So a temporary subsidy.
A temporary subsidy. Okay. Kenya did it. In Africa, Kenya did it recently.
Well, why shouldn't they make it permanent?
No, that is their policy. They said they have removed it permanently. Okay. But in this case, now I'm suggesting that the best way to do it is that government has to intervene, even if it was just 1 month. Let them intervene for the period of the war, and let us begin to buy. That is the only way they can go forward.
How then do you react to government intervention in a way? Because government is intervening in providing CNG buses, in some cases, reduced fares for transporters, for Nigerians that use those buses. How do you react to that intervention?
In some cases, bags of rice too to Nigerians.
That's a fraudulent political tool that they have been using. Let me tell you, during the Buhari administration, we didn't care about CNG buses. Nobody cared about whether the government is providing whatever. We were going to the filling station to buy fuel at 100 naira per liter. So when you have 1,000 naira or thereabout, you are short of about 10 liters, as case may be. So nobody cared. Transport, etc. was at the normal price. So who is going to look for this? Even I want to give you an example. Are you aware that even when Buhari brought out those buses, about 200 or there, about 500 that they brought out, people were not using it because they felt that transport listing is still affordable within their means.
Okay.
So for that, it was a fraud. But they were subsidizing the petroleum products so that we can get at a very low amount of money. If, for instance, you are buying a liter of fuel for 20 naira and you have 1,000 naira, you know how much it's going to give to you in a gallon. People will not complain much like that. But they say the state was suffering, as case may be. But for me, I believe that the reason why Tinubu is there is for him to make good things for Nigeria to happen.
Okay.
So that when you see Nigerians are suffering, as a leader, you should have compassion. And so, okay, the best thing for me to do at this point in time is for me to bring back temporarily a regime of subsidy.
Okay.
Let me subsidize so that marketers don't run at a loss. And there will not be scarcity.
Okay, so do you think that it will be easier to manage if we just call Dangote, restrict this subsidy to him? Okay, if we are selling $105 to outsiders, we are going to give you at $80. But please, based on pricing policies and all of that, this is how much you should sell to Nigerians, and restrict it to only Dangote, so that if anything goes wrong, we'll hold Dangote responsible.
Absolutely, they did it to Julius Berger.
Okay.
Julius Berger, I'm sorry I'm using the name. There's a construction company.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. That work all over Nigeria. All over Nigeria. Anywhere you go to, Federal Roads, Julius Berger.
Yes.
What were they doing? Crude for whatever exchange. You mustn't give Dangote money. Instead of Dangote taking maybe 1 million liters at the whatever, you can say take 1.2 million liters. The extra 200 is going to refine and maybe outside of Nigeria so that you can reduce the prices for us. Okay. Instead of 1 million liters, please take 1.2 million liters.
Okay.
Just to cushion the effect. That will act as the subsidy we are now giving to you.
All right,
okay.
All right.
So that should be what should happen.
Let's return to Mr. Ekunda. You said something that needs interrogation because it speaks to, it sits at the heart of who we are as a people. You said when Jen asked you, whether the economy might collapse because of this price surge and all of that, you said, well, Nigerians are very resilient. I'd like to ask you, are we resilient or are we docile? Because you see protests in some parts of the world because of a slight increase in fuel prices and all of that. But anytime, there's a price increase, NLC mounts a podium somewhere in Abuja, sings Omale Soso and all of that, and it ends there. Are we resilient or are we docile as a people? What will it be for you?
Maybe I should use the word that I think I should use, which is we are being enslaved, because a slave has no choice. Even if you don't feed that slave throughout that day, It has not. It's like a property.
No, slavery. Can you always say that slavery is by choice? You can decide not to be a slave.
Not in Nigerian case. Because look at what happened in Iran war. And Nigerians protested. You know, some Nigerians actually protested on behalf of Iran, the killing of Ayatollah. But they didn't protest the killing of their fellow Nigerians around within the same states. They didn't protest that. They didn't protest, increase in whatever. Within them, they never protested. But they protested on behalf of a country that doesn't even know we exist. Because they have never mentioned any of our cases as far as I know them. That is Iran and Palestine. Before Iran started having issue with US, we've been having problem of terrorism, kidnapping and banditry. You understand? And they never mentioned us at all. But it's not that there were protests across some part of Nigeria based on the fact that war was going on in Iran.
So in all of this, you have left resilience, and I brought in docile, and you say we are now enslaved.
Yes. So we are mentally enslaved. So we are being conditioned. We are being,
How can we come out of that?
Simple. One thing is this: we have to look at two things. One, who am I, and what do I represent? These are one thing that Nigerians do. They just tell you what to do, and then you start moving out. Like what happened in Cross Akwa Ibom. Sorry, this state in which Cross River. Thank you. In which some political thugs went and disrupt and destroyed the ADC, and then the government kept quiet. No arrest, nothing. A whole governor in Edo said we don't want any party here except so party. That's not treason. And nobody, no caution, nothing. That's not the first time he said that too. He even said a whole Nigeria should not pass through states. We don't know who we are. Yes, we don't. We always see ourselves as, well, we are this type of people in which whatever they give us, we just take.
Who are we?
We are human beings. We are Nigerians. This country is owned by us. So nobody can come up and dictate to me what belongs to me.
I go back to that question. Where should be our starting point of more like a renaissance to rediscover who we are?
Yes.
Or who we should be.
The first thing is this, that we should know, one, we are humans and we have responsibility for every other human being. That's the first thing. We don't have that mindset. Some Nigerian can get up today and kill another Nigerian because one religious person told him to go and do that. Or maybe one politician gave him money to do that. You get that mentality. That is the first thing. The second thing is that we need to understand that this country belongs to all of us. Everybody has equal share. So nobody can come to me and tell me to vote for you or do something because you give me something. I will ask you, what is your own benefit from this thing you are giving me?
Okay. So Nigerians don't ask the right question.
Yes, we don't. We are miseducated. So we see ourselves as this kind of whatever they give us, this slave mentality.
And I wonder what you're doing, because if you say you're miseducated, I wonder what you're doing, because you are an educationist.
I wanted to ask him,
that's what I'm here. That's what I'm saying.
So
see, I'm saying it, I'm here.
What are you imparting on the students?
That's what I'm doing.
Boost their,
my students, many of them will listen to me on radio. They come up and say,
So how is that impacting on their belief, or how they see themselves as Nigerians and how they want to impart on the society?
Yes, we educate them every time we teach.
Is it just education? Is it just education?
See, the first thing you need to understand. Let me give you a good example I gave on radio. I said, let me say your father gave you a property. You have an inheritance, a very big mansion, and then you are hungry. And somebody came to you and said, I'll give you 10,000 naira to go and buy food. Just give me that property. And then you sign that property to that because you are hungry at that moment. What will people call you?
Does it matter what people call you if you get food?
No, because nobody wants to help you, because they will call you that you are a fool.
Let me remind you.
But when you tell him,
I think, no, don't put you already put him on the spot. I think what he's doing is just like, a trickle, So what he should be doing is to ask him to collaborate with a lot more teachers, so that the thing could become meaningful.
Yes.
Because as an individual, I'm not sure there's
Apart from that, yes. What we need is ethical revolution.
Okay.
And civic education.
Okay.
Not really the kind of education that he's giving out. He's teaching us our biology, chemistry, maybe mathematics and the rest. That is the four-wall education. There are those who really go to school, who were not taught by teachers, but they are successful today because they had education on the street. What Nigerians need is civic education, number one. That is, the Nigerian masses also need to be educated on their rights. That is where civic education comes. For instance, Chinua Achebe in 1983 made it very clear in his book, the problem with Nigeria, or the trouble with Nigeria, you know that particular book, the trouble with Nigeria. One of the high points or bullet points was blind followership, and that many Nigerians, they see a political leader who is a governor, who is a president, but because of the fact that he is from our area, because of the fact that I like the man, whatever that man does, it's okay.
Civic education.
So civic education
now,
is very
important. Before we leave now, because we need to get into the second topic, last topic of discussion. You talked about ethical revolution.
Absolutely.
Who should lead that? The leadership or the followership?
See, ethical revolution, all of us. The family.
Okay.
The family is the smallest unit. Sociology said that the smallest unit in the world is the family. Let me tell you that if I have my kids, I know that tomorrow they will go into the world. At the age of 5, 10, I should be telling them. That is just the truth of the matter. Let me give for an example. Donald Trump, when they were swearing him in, he had to go and get the Bible of his grandfather. You understand the point? That was what he used. The reason why I had to call it back, when they asked him, he said, he's not a popular, regular, go out of a church. But for the fact that when he was growing up, the father told him the importance of this particular whatever. And he should not desecrate it. That was why I had to recall it. So we have to, give our children that kind of, thoughts from the house. Because Tinubu is born, was born by a parent.
Barrister Asimada,
if you have good character from home, he can never be anywhere.
The family should lead in
the family should lead.
All right,
the family should lead. Then government will take over from there.
Now, all right, let's go for a short break. And when we return, leaders react as Nigeria ranks 4th in 2026 Global Terrorism Index. Join us again. We'll be right back.
Well, Nigeria is reeling from a devastating wave of terrorist violence as the latest Global Terrorism Index 2026 ranks the country 4th globally among the most terror-impacted nations, behind Pakistan, Burkina Faso, and Niger, with terrorism deaths surging by 46% to approximately 750 in the reporting period. Now, largely driven by groups like ISWAP, Boko Haram. The former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi reacted to this and said it's painful indictment of failed leadership, basically slamming misplaced priorities, corruption, weak governance, and lack of rule of law for allowing Boko Haram insurgents, ISWAP threats, rampant kidnappings, and bandits' violence to claim lives daily, while leaders feast. Now, he urged an immediate shift from excuses to decisive action, insisting that protecting citizens is government's core duty, and a safe Nigeria is every citizen's right, not a luxury. Well, the reality hits even closer home with fresh tragedies. with suspected suicide bombings in Maiduguri, Borno State, on March 16, killing at least 23 people and injuring over 100 at a marketplace. The University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital gate and a post office flyover, prompting Chief of Defense Staff General Olufemi Oluyede to, reacting to his recent statements where he blamed locals from Borno and Yobe State as the main perpetrators and has called for community ownership to end the cycle. Well, the Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, has also demanded the military take the war to the terrorists proactively instead of reacting after attacks, condemning the act as un-Islamic and urging stronger political will nationwide. Now, the president, just after the bombings, the 3 bombings in Borno State, the president ordered the service chiefs to relocate to Borno State, ensure that things are brought under control there. And then we saw, yesterday they were, marching. It felt like, yes, they're relocating, but they relocated to Benue the other time. And Nigerians are asking, in fact, I am asking, how often will we see them relocate from one affected area to another? Does this seem like the answer to the problem, relocating service chiefs? Let me start with you, Barrister Sim Adams. Relocating service chiefs to areas affected by terrorism, is that the answer to the problem?
That is not the answer to the problem. Those are just showmanship by the government. What Fela described as motion without movement. Now, you see, why I'm saying this is very clear. A nation that wants to tackle terrorism, from the policies of government, after the 9/11 situation in the U.S., what the people of America did through their president was to set up a Homeland Security, ministry or agency that took care of Homeland Security. The second one, they sat down and asked, how could this have happened? They now found out that the first reason why terrorism thrived in America then was that they had people who were financing terrorists. Bin Laden was not a terrorist on the field. He was a financier. He was encouraging them one way or the other, also giving them money. So what they did, they had to collaborate with 129 countries of the world that agree with them with their policies to checkmate financing of terrorism by any means possible. Then they went after people, individuals now, who were contributors to that whatever, and that was why Bin Laden and some other people were not, sort of that are neutralized. The second one is this. America never allowed what we call ungoverned spaces in Nigeria today. What are ungoverned spaces? Ungoverned spaces is where you do not have any government presence. Have you ever wondered and asked yourself, why is it that most of these terrorists, they attack villages and, unleash mayhem in villages that do not even have any federal presence, no police station, no army, whatever around that area. So they have to, fill in that void. How do you do that? It's either by forest guard or whatever the case may be. You fill in that gap so that they will not have any space for them to, put in. America now went for that to now do what they call intelligence gathering, where the CIA, FBI, and all other agencies of security in America had to synchronize, simultaneously work on an issue and begin to, get information and intelligence on how to deal with them. That was how Afghanistan came into the picture. That the main hub where these people reside and carry out their plans is Afghanistan and Pakistan. They went in for that immediately. Now the fourth one was, for every terrorist that was captured, either during the war, whatever the case may be, he was flown to America. They will extract information from that terrorist and not keep him in that Guantanamo Bay for life. And keep monitoring him, and he will be there releasing information to them on how to track names that appear on their radar. That is how it should be fought. The fifth one is that the issue of terrorism was not politicized. The leaders of America made sure that they came together, barring party lines, barring religious affiliations, barring political affiliations. Quite unlike what is happening in Nigeria today. Today, you find that the opposition leaders, it's only when you have attacks that they come out and begin to say they have attacked again. But nobody is giving solution. If the government of the day is not able to do what it's supposed to do, opposition can come out and profile solution. Let it be that they didn't take your solution and advice, as case may be. America did that. They came to it was the president that came to and said, look, America is one united country. Any American that is attacked by a terrorist, the whole America has been attacked. It is as the case may be. Then in Nigeria today, what the government needs to do, instead of sending service chiefs to these areas, is the issue of unemployment, whether you like it or not. A lot of youths in Nigeria today are idle. If you go to the northern part of Nigeria, you find that the people who are perpetuating this are young men within the age of 15, 16, 20 years. On video, we see them. So the government must do something, to create jobs for the youth. Finally, on this, on my own take, is that the government must do all the punitive measures. If you arrest a terrorist or a so-called alleged terrorist, and you now take him to government house, and you want to say you want to rehabilitate him, people in the villages are watching you. Members of his group are watching you. They want to do more because they know that the moment you are arrested, the government will not even execute you. The government will not even prosecute you properly and jail you. And the highest punitive measure meted on you, they will take you to the state house, give you jollof or pepper soup, you begin to eat. They now say they want to rehabilitate you. You understand the point? So the government must be very, very serious with punitive measures meted out to those people who were arrested. Good example, you have people, I saw Kabiru Sokoto today. Where is he? They said he's the one that masterminded the Mina bombing. You have this Wadume. You also find out that in Nigeria today, a particular serving senator who is still in the Senate today was linked to Kabiru Sokoto through the MTN link that we saw. They brought out the link between that senator and Kabiru Sokoto. That before Kabiru Sokoto went for that bombing, he lodged in his guest house. What has happened to the senator today? The man is still working free, as the case may be. So Nigerian government must be very serious in dealing with these people and punish them whenever the need arises.
All right, then.
That is my own take. And this Sultan is talking here and there. I have never heard Sultan or the Emir of Kano come out to criticize and say that what these people are doing is tarnishing the image of our religion.
But he has said it, that it's
he has not done it strongly.
Islamic.
On Islamic, that is, he has not said, he has not put his foot on the ground. To now say in Sokoto, no terrorists we cohabit with us here. And with his power as the spiritual leader of all Muslims in Nigeria, I believe that if he says so, no terrorists will enter Sokoto and perpetuate this whatever they are doing today now. They are not talking about it. So it's a big shame on our part, as case may be.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Hasim Adams, a lawyer, public affairs commentator. Mr. Lawale Kunayo, let's have your take now on this. Let's just wrap up the conversation.
Okay, what I want to say is that one of the solutions, because the main problem of this terrorism in Nigeria is simply government policy. The government is not ready to fight it. And the government at the center is too central. So if there is a compromise at that top, it affects almost every other part of the country. That is the main thing we are facing. Now, the first thing is proper separation of power. The judiciary and the reps cannot be under the executive and then we have a functioning country. The country is not functioning because the executives have captured all of them. Now, the president is not afraid of the house, he's not afraid of the judiciary. And he controls everything. Now, that is the main loophole. Decentralize, separate this power. Decentralize the power of the federal. So that the federal can concentrate more on defending our borders. United States and the local government do their work. In United States, you have the local government having their own policing, the county, in which any small thing they're already coming up. Then before you have the state, then before you get to the federal. So there should be decentralization, and finally, resource control.
Resource control.
We need to go to resource control.
All right, thank you very much, Lawale Kunda. You're an educationist, a farmer, and a public affairs commentator. We've also had Chief Asim Adams, a lawyer, and a constitutional lawyer, actually, and also a public affairs commentator. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. Newspaper review comes up next. I'm Moses Humphrey. I'll see you at 10. Bye for now.
And I'm Jane Ogoye. Thank you so much for watching.
I am Chukwuma Okoro. Bye for now.